Hello, and welcome to the Ephemeral podcast. Today, a very important subject for a very important bunch of people. We'll be looking today at a cinematic masterpiece. I'd like to introduce my co-host, Fadiman. Fadiman, please say something.
Hello. Thank you for joining us on this evening. It's very nice to have you all here. Hope you brought your tea and biscuits.
Indeed, Fadiman, indeed. Now, today, we'll be looking at a piece of cinema that is oft overlooked in the annals of history. The story of a life, one who spirals into self-destruction and eventually death. But what a life it was. One of one Yoda, former film star.
Yes.
May his soul rest in peace.
It's truly his death cry still keeps me up at night. The horrible sound of his death, the horrible shriek of pain.
The shriek.
As he
the shriek of
became
pain.
one with the Force.
Indeed.
It truly keeps me up at night still to this day.
Yes.
I shook with tears and cried butterfly tears.
Many of us indeed were feeling terrible when Yoda passed away, but we are not here to talk about just his death, but to celebrate his life as well. On a YouTube channel that Yoda himself made, well, before we get into the channel, I should probably start at the beginning. Yoda made his cinematic debut back in... What year was this? I forget the year.
1980, I believe.
1980, you say? 1980, with The Empire Strikes Back, Yoda took the world by storm, making his cinematic debut as the mentor of Luke Skywalker, and then went on to have a long, illustrious career in both animation, music, and video games. A modern Renaissance man, if I ever saw one.
Yes, he was a man of many talents indeed. He was both wise in the Force, and in his film career he was wise as well. Truly a modern man to be admired.
A modern Leonardo da Vinci. A modern Leonardo DiCaprio, if I ever saw one.
Yes, both of those.
And today, we look at his YouTube channel, which chronicles the story of his life, entitled GreenBoys.
The GreenBoys, yes.
Yes, after making a guest appearance on JonTron's channel during his Starcade event, Yoda went and focused on his own channel, but unfortunately, the story does not end there. What follows is a tragic tale of substance abuse, struggling with addiction, and trying to figure out your place in the world. And for those more faint of heart or those younger among you, we must recommend that viewing discretion is commemorated, because what we are about to discuss, and if you go looking for it yourself, is not for those who cannot handle it.
Yes, it is disturbing, to put it bluntly. It is quite disturbing to watch. Indeed. The spiraling. The spiraling is really the only word for it, of this poor man who, from the height of stardom to the absolute pits of despair.
Yes,
is
like many celebrities.
Yes.
Like many celebrities. But we will put a link, of course, in the description so that you may view this story yourself, but for now we will discuss it. So I bring your attention, if you follow along with us or if you view later, the very first entry on this channel, posted 6 years ago to the day. Yoda owned.
Yes, well, I believe first we should begin with the video in which he made his first YouTube appearance. Of course, was when Jonathan Tronathan, I believe, invited him to appear on his show, and I believe he interviewed him at the time about his book. He had just recently published his biography, Green and Clean, an inspirational story it is, and I've read this book myself. I must say it kept me up late many nights. It was impossible to put down, and it made me
truly
cry.
A profound read indeed.
Yes, he has some true wisdom for all ages.
Yes, and the literary prowess is truly something to behold in this modern day of schlock and crud peddled out to the masses. Yoda's book stands out among the lesser works as something truly inspirational to behold, notwithstanding what happens later.
Yes. And we're not just referring to the doo-doo specks that he allegedly left on the mirror of Mr. Tronathan's bathroom mirror. That was only an allegation, I believe. There was no
allegation.
There was likely no real merit to that accusation. I don't believe that Yoda was a man who would have left fecal matter on the mirror of another man. That's just...
If he is a man at all, who knows?
Yes.
Yoda's species is still unknown to this day, and I believe there are only 2 other members who have ever been sighted. Truly an interesting creature he is.
Yes, truly he is indeed. So, yes.
We could not reach Yaddle for comment, unfortunately.
Yes, and
she is off somewhere.
And Grogu, of course, is still too young to speak.
We do not speak of Grogu.
Oh, we do not. Yes.
But after, I believe if you look, the signs were already there. GreenBoys' YouTube channel, he first posted on October 14th, 2014. 15, my bad. Yoda owned, which is a 3-second video. It's almost hard to watch. It shows Yoda be on the ground, being stomped upon by a brown boot, screaming out, "It's just a prank, bro," and receiving no sympathy in return.
Yes, we unfortunately we're not gifted the sight of what this prank was that he was owned for, but it must have been one that made this particular individual rather angry, as he... But, I must say, I don't believe any prank would have been worthy of that kind of retaliation, especially not one pulled off by someone as decent as Yoda. I don't believe Yoda would have ever pulled a prank that truly would have harmed someone to the degree that they should cause physical harm.
It's hard to say, especially given what we know happens later.
Yes.
It is true, in some ways the signs were always there, and no one could see it until it was too late.
Yes, see, the true tragedy is that this channel was really, if nothing else, a cry for help that went ignored for far too long. And then
a 6-year cry for help.
6-year-long cry for help that ended in a death shriek. And only after the death shriek were their eyes open to this cry for help that had been right in front of their face the entire time. It's so tragic.
Where are my manners? Where are my manners? My name is Mingus.
Oh, yes, and as you said earlier, I am Futterman. I forgot to introduce myself properly, and I apologize.
Now, if you'll direct your attention to the next video, this one, I believe, is entirely facetious. It's called Yoda Dies, but obviously Yoda would not die just yet. In this video, you can see Yoda saying goodnight to everybody, and then imploding his face in on itself before falling off frame.
True talent. It must be exclusive to his species, I believe. I have never seen another individual implode their face quite in that manner, but...
And the camera work truly is exquisite on this episode, in particular.
Yes, the lighting. They went in for a very a close shot. Very close personal view of Yoda, putting you right in his perspective and his headspace in this video, and very harsh lighting pointed directly at his face, highlighting all of his features. It's truly a cinematic masterpiece, even if it is only 6 seconds long.
Yes. Now, the next video, unfortunately, begins the downward spiral.
Yes.
After becoming green and clean, we have come to Drunk Yoda, which it is unknown from the content of this video if this is previous footage or in fact evidence of new misbehavior, but this video depicts Yoda becoming inebriated and drinking more beers than is appropriate for a man of his size.
Yes, I believe that the proper amount to drink would likely be 1 to 2 ounces for a man of his stature, but he appears to be consuming a 12-ounce beer, if not larger. It's a very short interval, and to disastrous effect, I am sure.
Yes, indeed. Now, there's not as much to say for the next few entries. They are unusual in their content. We have Yoda is hungry, the next installment, and if you watch closely, you can see in this video just the Yoda. You can see the bit of it's hard to describe, really. His contemptor is unstable at best. He's found gorging himself and then falling from a large height. And then following this is another video, Yoda in disguise, wherein Yoda, for what appears to be kicks and giggles, has covered himself in shaving cream to create a fake beard and a wig, along with a mustache, if I am not mistaken.
Yes, it is truly an act of comedic genius, though, I would say, and it really shows that even at this time, if he truly had began to spiral downward, as we said, he still held on to some of that sheer talent that he's always had.
Yes.
Still able to make us laugh in such a dark time of his life, and it truly is sad.
Indeed. Now, clean Yoda. It's. I must be frank. It's exactly what it sounds like. Yoda can be seen brushing his teeth, practicing good oral hygiene, perhaps implying that even underneath the debauchery, there still was a desire to be a positive role model to all. Pardon me, to all of the people out there.
Nice, and he also, it should be noted, is depicted taking a shower at the end as well. Although no lewd content appears in this video, it should be said. No. Yoda was a man of taste. He would not put such content in his videos, at least not at this stage in his career.
A man of taste, unfortunately fallen from grace.
Yes.
A man of taste becomes a man debased.
Yes. Well said, Minkus. Next we have Yoda chilling. Yes, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this one is very simple. It's just Yoda sitting in a chair with sunglasses, enjoying the sun. But interestingly enough, it is followed by Yoda singing, which I'm not sure if this video, it appears to be a lip sync video, and I'm not sure if we can adequately say whether or not this is ethical, but I have seen many lip syncing projects on YouTube, and it seems that he was just trying to get in on the trend.
Yes, I don't believe he meant any deception in his video. It is quite evident that he is lip syncing, as the voice that we hear in the video sounds nothing like that of Yoda's, and I do believe it was done in a good-spirited joke. It was not meant as a deception or... Yes, it was.
You never can be quite too sure, especially given of what we know later. It's when you realize that this whole channel is in fact a cry for help. You can't tell just how much of it was genuine and how much of it was from his suffering.
Yes.
It's truly it's one of those things that when you look back on it, it becomes harder to watch than the first time. Just like the episode of The Office, Scott's Tots, which I cringe in pain every time I watch.
Yes.
Mingus, have you ever seen Scott's Tots?
I believe you mean Futterman. I am Futterman. You are Mingus.
What did I just say?
You called me Mingus, but it's quite all right. It's quite all right.
Oh,
it's an honest mistake. But no, I unfortunately have not been graced with Scott's Tots.
Unfortunately.
Previous. Yes, my viewership of The Office is incomplete, I am saddened to say. And as it has recently been removed from Netflix, I believe that my viewership of The Office will likely remain incomplete for the time being, as I am unwilling to fork over the dough, as you would say, to purchase the necessary streaming service to watch The Office. Yes.
Well, you see, that's part of your problem. You should be purchasing physical media. It lasts forever and cannot be censored.
Yes.
I have a DVD of this program if you wish to borrow it at a later time.
I may take you up on that kind offer, good sir, because this appears to be one of the times that I was indeed burned by my lack of physical media for this content. Yes.
Now, in the next video, entitled Yoda is Sleepy, this one depicts Yoda wishing the viewers a good night before falling asleep, but if you look in the background, you can see what appears to be, a bottle of alcohol.
Yes, this is...
It is unsure due to the label, but the question must be raised.
Yes, it is a bottle. It is not conclusively alcohol, but it is very likely assumption that it is indeed alcohol, and it's unfortunate. This video seems very innocent upon first viewing, but you will begin to realize that this is very likely when he is well into his decline, as he is likely not sleepy, as the video title would suggest, but he is likely inebriated and sleepy as a result of that, rather than sleepy as a result of exhaustion.
Yes.
Truly sad.
Truly saddening to see. Now, the next video, despite its title, is actually a bit of a bright spot. Yoda is seen. It's entitled Yoda Drinking, and at first you think, oh dear, has the bad egg finally returned? But in fact, Yoda is drinking water, so we can look at this video and think, oh, perhaps he is doing okay. Unfortunately, it is followed immediately by Yoda smoking.
Yes, it's such a rapid decline. As you see in Yoda Drinking, he is once again representing, he's acting as a good role model for his viewers. He is, in fact, enacting a proverb that Jonathan Tronathan himself once said, and that is, hydration is important. And he is, Yoda is reinforcing this idea. So it is so sad that immediately after this uplifting and beautiful video, he had to follow it with Yoda smoking, which depicts him, as the title suggests, smoking. But it does not appear to be simply a cigarette that he is smoking. It is more than likely marijuana.
Yes. It is, in fact, it is very possible that due to the shape and the overall attire in this video that Yoda is indeed smoking marijuana.
Yes.
Which we should all be wary of. Mind-altering substances are no joke.
Yes.
Now, speaking of hydration, if you'll excuse me, I need to take a sip of my clear American Mandarin orange flavor beverage.
Oh, yes. A lovely selection of beverage indeed.
Exquisite.
Yes.
Futterman, would you care to introduce the next couple of videos?
Yes, the next one is titled Breakfast Yoda. It is...
And what happens in this video, Futterman?
It's 11 seconds long, and it depicts Yoda, well, apparently enjoying his breakfast, but he's eating a handful of... Well, it's not entirely clear what he is eating, but it is out of the hand of an unknown individual. But if I had to guess, it's some kind of seeds or perhaps granola. So it's unknown exactly what he is eating, but he feels the need to eat it out of some individual's hand. However, I believe this is likely done just for the shock factor, for the comedic effect for the YouTube video.
If I may,
yes.
I believe the substance being consumed here is in fact grape nuts. The
yes.
hard as rock pellet cereal that for some reason people enjoy, even though it is basically inedible.
Yes, it is very bold of Yoda to ingest such a cereal without even as much as milk to soften it.
Who are you kidding? Milk does not soften grape nuts.
Yes.
Grape nuts are an immovable rock in the world of cereal.
Yes, that is true. It's I feel one may have
Seriously.
more luck eating a bowl of nails.
Seriously, why do people eat them? I don't understand it.
I believe they are very high in fiber, which is necessary for keeping one regular, as you know.
Then eat a piece of celery.
Yes, well...
It's better fiber, easier on the teeth, also doesn't taste like literal rocks.
Yes, well, grape nuts, however, are much more nutritionally substantial for starting the day, as, you know, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I believe eating a stick of celery for breakfast would not give you the necessary energy for the endurance to last throughout the day, as...
Peanut butter.
Yes, peanut butter and celery. Now that is a healthy and well-rounded breakfast. Yes.
Especially if you supplement it with dehydrated grapes to create the seminal dish, ants on a log.
Yes, and it's truly, truly wonderful. I've had it in many Michelin-starred restaurants myself, and it's, you know, those ants on the logs have the added benefit. The dehydrated grapes add even more fiber, and as you know, regularity
Indeed.
is first to health, is the first step to a healthy gut.
Yes. The second step to a healthy gut is a substantial population of gut flora.
Yes. Probiotics, if you will. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Now, this next video is an unfortunate trend. Yoda Most Wanted. This depicts Yoda speeding in a vehicle. Apparently, it is unknown if he is on any substance at the time, but the implications are clear.
Yes, and I do not know for certain, but I don't believe Yoda is in possession of a driver's license, as I believe a man of his stature would find extreme challenge driving even the smallest of cars. So I find it very unlikely that he would have been able to procure a driver's license. So he is likely violating more than one law in this video, and that is truly disheartening to see.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, in fact, as I have heard, Yoda's driver's license was in fact suspended due to an earlier substance-related incident before the beginning of this YouTube channel. It's all depicted in the book. I believe it was chapter 5.
Oh, yes. How could I have forgotten? I'm sad to say I have not read that book within the last week, and my memory of it is not as well as I believed it was. But let's carry on to the next video. This one is titled Yoda Water Challenge. This is one of the longer videos, being 22 seconds.
A full like third of a minute.
Oh, yes, almost a half of a minute. But this one,
Indeed.
This one, it depicts Yoda attempting to drink a small quantity of water out of a stemmed wine glass and placing his entire head into the mouth of the glass in an effort to reach the water at the bottom. He appears to fail the water challenge, however, as he is unable to consume the water at the bottom, and appears to tip the glass over in frustration. And if you will notice, he has made a comment on his own video here. It is the top comment. Posting not from his GreenBoys channel, but from his main channel as Yoda himself. He commented, "Stay thirsty, my friends," which I must say, this is truly a horrifying thing to hear Yoda say, as he is no longer representing the importance of hydration as he was in his previous video, and I believe this really, more than anything, signifies the decline of Yoda, of the man we know as Yoda, and yes, it's truly sad to see.
All right. Well, I'm looking at our time. I believe it is time for an ad break, so
Yes.
We will see you shortly.
Yes. Stay tuned for more discussion of the GreenBoys with the Ephemeral podcast.
Yes.
The French champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence.
Hello, I'm Pate. I'm your friend. Maybe, maybe not.
Oh, Mingus, you kidda. I know you're not
What?
actually Pate.
You don't know that.
You do sound like Pate, though, I must say.
No, if anything, Pate sounds like me. I was around before Dark Souls was a game.
True. Yes. Although I believe Pate did not actually appear in the first Dark Souls game. He appeared
Indeed,
in
he did not.
Dark Souls 2. In the first
Yes.
game, he was known as Patches.
In the second game, he becomes the new Solaire because of the fact that he gives you a soapstone.
Yes, but I would hesitate to call him Solaire, as Solaire was a friendly fellow who encouraged jolly cooperation, while Pate was a traitorous man who looked to stab you in the back at any opportunity he could.
But he clearly states that he's your new friend.
Yes, but I believe this was a misdirection on his part.
Where's the decency in the world if you cannot take the word of a random stranger that they will in fact be your friend?
Yes, indeed. And on that note, I believe we should return to the GreenBoys and Yoda's steady decline.
We continue our story today in Yoda's dark place. Futterman, would you like to tell the people what happens in this video?
Yes, well, I myself am not quite sure exactly what happens in this video. Yoda appears to lay on the ground next to an empty bottle of Coca-Cola and proceeds to have what looks like some sort of nervous breakdown, and then proceeds to dance, and then, well, through some bizarre but expertly done green screen effect, he towers over what appears to be a tennis court, and then proceeds to turn his face inside out once again. Yes, I don't know for sure how to interpret this one. I believe there's some very deep symbolism here. I believe maybe him towering over the tennis court. It's the tennis court. I believe the symbolism there would have something to do with him feeling as if he's going back and forth. But
I believe I can shed some light on this.
Yes.
If you recall, in the final video, one of the scenes that happens, and now if you'll direct your attention to the description of this video, wherein the song is apparently Big Black Kerosene.
Yes.
I believe that the implications are clear. Kerosene sounds almost like ketamine, which Yoda is known to have dabbled in.
Yes,
Clearly
tragically.
A connection.
And upon second viewing, I have realized that I was mistaken in calling this a tennis court, as it appears to be some sort of gate on a road. But
A gate on a road. And pray tell, does this gate may have hinges?
Yes, it appears to have hinges. So perhaps.
And is it made of metal or wood?
Appears to be metal, I believe. It is the type of gate that you would typically see at a recreational area. That
a metal gate.
Yes.
Just like they used to herd cattle back in the Wild West.
Yes, the imagery is clear to me now. He feels he is being herded into this path that he is following, into this dark place, and
Yes.
And perhaps the hinges represent him swinging out of control. Just like a gate that is left unlatched.
A gate left unlatched in the wind of an Alabama tornado.
Yes. Shall we carry on
now,
to the next video?
Indeed. In the next video, we can see Yoda engaging in his morning procedures. It appears that to get him up in the morning, he needs to ingest and inhaling. What do you call that?
I believe
what's the word for a thing that you inhale as to eat? Inhalant.
An inhalant is the correct terminology. However, in this video,
drug.
It is also possible that he was simply applying cologne, as that appeared to be a bottle of Old Spice cologne that he sprayed onto his face, or rather had the unseen individual in this video spray onto his face for him. But
I am unsure. I believe that he may be using the propellants to get high, which would seem to be in line with his other portrayals. And the fact that he is found sleeping in a drawer suggests a sorry home life indeed.
Yes, it truly would be giving the benefit of the doubt to say that he was only applying cologne, but I also hesitate to make such an accusation at this point, although such accusations will become irrefutable not much further down the line. Yes.
Indeed. Now, in the next video, Yoda's dare.
Yes.
He scoots into frame before having what appears to be a, well, I hesitate to call it a seizure, but that is what we appear to be looking at.
Yes, this is,
I'm unclear as to what the dare in Yoda's dare actually is.
Well, if you look to the description once again, you'll see that the music playing in this video is a song titled Dare by the artist The Gorillaz. So I believe the title of the video may just simply be a reference to the music choice, and that he was not indeed dared to do anything. But I believe there's once again great symbolism to be read into this video, as I believe maybe Yoda feels he has been dared by the media to carry out this destructive lifestyle, as he never did quite reach his level of fame after his film career ended. He made an appearance in episode 5, of course, of Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, of course, and then he also made a subsequent appearance in the Phantom Menace when George Lucas was creating his prequel films, I mean. But it's well known, though, for the second 2 films of the trilogy, George Lucas elected to use CGI rather than employ Yoda himself in those films, and later even went back to create a special edition of The Phantom Menace that removed Yoda's physical acting entirely, replacing him with CGI once again. It was truly tragic, and I understand that Yoda felt very very unsatisfied or dissatisfied with this course of action by George Lucas, and I believe Yoda may have taken it personally, and that may be what we're seeing in this film, in this video here. He feels that the media has pushed him out of his former stardom, and now he is being dared to carry out these acts of bizarre rebellion to get the media attention onto him once again, to feel some level of that fame that he once enjoyed.
Indeed, especially when you look at the next videos. Yoda works out, Yoda's clean, Yoda spins. Yoda displays in these videos an almost party, well, a devil-may-care attitude. He's seen throwing himself into a washing machine, a very dangerous act. He's seen standing upon a turntable. He's seen working with a weight that is probably far too much than he can handle, and yet he tries anyways. These are all indicative of one who knows that his best days are behind him, and instead works to regain some semblance of what he once had, worrying that if he cannot feel anything, is he truly alive? This condition is very common among many child actors and white dwarf starlets whose best days are behind them and are often spent watching their old movies in homes by themselves until they are inevitably murdered and become the subject of an episode of CSI Miami.
Yes, indeed. I believe it is worth saying as well that Yoda working out in that video, you may be tempted to say that is him attempting to regain some semblance of a healthy routine in his lifestyle. But if you watch the video, you will see that he is likely doing it only for comedic effect. I don't believe that he is actually working out with the intention of exercise and health. It seems entirely likely that he is, in fact, endangering himself for the sake of a joke, and it's very disheartening to see.
Yes,
indeed.
Now, in the next video, Yoda attempts to trend surf, as the young ones are calling it, by playing video games. Let's Plays have become one of the biggest industries on YouTube. It's ever since really 2012 is when it really started, but since then, Let's Plays have been a huge part of the YouTube community, and Yoda appears to be trying to gain some modicum of fame, but unfortunately his short temper gets the better of him, and due to the fact that he dies while playing Yo-Noid, he throws his controller and has a tantrum, indicative of one who has no patience for anything.
Yes, and you will, maybe upon closer inspection of this video, will recognize that there are some logical inconsistencies. For example, when he is scanning his selection of games, he initially picks the game Shaq Fu from the shelf, but when he opens the case for Shaq Fu, inside he finds not Shaq Fu, but a copy of Bubsy. And then when he, instead of placing Bubsy in a Sega Genesis as the cartridge is intended, he places it into an N64, which is once again the incorrect console to be playing said game. But then, as you stated, the game he actually ends up playing is none other than Yo-Noid, and the controller he is handling is in fact an NES controller. So there are many inconsistencies throughout this video, and I believe that this was entirely intentional, and perhaps not done just for comedic effect, but also for symbolism. Once again, you will recognize that each game that appeared in this video is not a well-regarded game, you could say. For example, Shaq Fu is regarded as being a objectively pretty terrible game. It was not well reviewed at the time. However, it is the type of game that went on to become a cult following, almost as if it is symbolic of Yoda's early career, where he saw some success. And
I quite enjoy Shaq Fu as it stands. I think it is an underlooked gem in the video game world, and that people are just too afraid to get good to properly appreciate it.
Yes, I certainly concur with that opinion. But then as it progresses, you will see the next game that appears is Bubsy, one that is reviled by even more players than Shaq Fu is. And then the final game that we see him playing is Yo-Noid, which is truly a terrible game. So the steady decline seems to show how Yoda's expectations proceed to decline. He begins with low expectations of Shaq Fu, but then even those expectations are not met as the quality of game proceeds to decline. It's truly a haunting look at the inner mind of this star at his
in the nadir of his career.
Yes, he's on his way to the bottom as we are now.
Yes.
Only a handful of videos away from the finale, as it were.
The inevitable conclusion to this sad tale.
Yes, indeed. Would you like to explain the next video, Mingus?
Indeed. The next video is entitled Yoda Spook, and it starts with a black screen which very quickly is pushed aside to reveal Yoda suddenly popping into the frame, attempting to scare the viewer. Once again, a cry for help, as clearly he desires attention and will resort to any means necessary to get it. This is further emboldened by his next appearance, wherein he attempts to trend surf further by playing Fortnite, the popular online game that is also canon to the Star Wars universe for some reason.
Yes. And before we proceed with that discussion, as I believe there is indeed discussion to have there, I would like to draw our attention back to the previous video for a brief moment, if I may. You will notice the song choice for the video, Yoda Spook, is none other than Down with the Sickness by the artist Disturbed. And the scream that he uses to try to scare the viewer is none other than the iconic scream from said song. And I believe there is once again great symbolism to be found with both the artist and title of this song, Disturbed.
For those of you who are not sure what we are talking about, I believe the screaming question is "Ooh wah ah ah ah."
Yes, that's correct. Yes, indeed.
Once again, "Ooh wah ah ah ah" is what Yoda says in this video.
Yes. So yes, I believe much can be seen by that song choice, as Yoda seems to have some desire to banish this sickness within him, and also appears to be at the same time acknowledging that his dependency on substances is indeed a sickness, and one that must be brought down with a triumphant ooh ah 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 ah.
Yes. Now, the next video, I have to believe, was created with the use of special effects software, because I do not see how it could be possible otherwise. It is entitled Reverse Yoda, and it appears to depict Yoda completely turned inside out, where a disturbing chord plays in the background. Now, I believe that this video could only have been created with the effect of special effect software, as I do not see any logical explanation for how Yoda could turn himself inside out entirely.
Yes, and I believe, in fact, that this
is quite a disturbing sight, if I'm being honest.
Yes, I believe this honestly may be, once again, calling back to his replacement with CGI throughout the remainder of the prequel trilogies. And I believe perhaps him using his own digital effects to recreate this monstrosity appears to perhaps mirror how he feels George Lucas treated him in his replacement of Yoda with a CGI replacement in both the Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and ultimately the Phantom Menace as well. It is likely only a matter of time, he felt, before George Lucas would replace him in The Empire Strikes Back as well, removing him entirely from his stardom and his source of fame and claim to success. It's truly tragic, indeed.
Yes. Now, the next video is once again entitled Yoda Drinking, but this time in parenthesis, water, parenthesis. Now, you might think that this is once again a return to form for Yoda, just trying to stay hydrated, but he is drinking directly from the sink and truly appears debased in this appearance, which is more indicative of his declining mental state in these videos.
Yes.
Unfortunately, this is followed shortly after by Yoda Snorts, where he appears to be doing hard drugs on the surface of his house, and frankly, it is all downhill from here.
Yes, this is the point where he has officially began openly using substances. As you stated in this video, cocaine is the substance of choice. He appears to be placing his face on a tray with said substance on it and inhaling deeply, or snorting, as the title implies.
As it is colloquially known in the drug community.
Yes. Next video, however, is titled Cooking with Yoda, which depicts him perhaps once again attempting to have some semblance of independence in his life. However, I believe that this may still only be done for comedic effect. I don't know for sure that he was attempting any true change here, as what he is cooking appears to be a single Dorito on a plate, and he places it in the microwave and then removes it with his mouth, and then appears to collapse from either exhaustion or perhaps from the effects of some substance he has used prior to filming this video.
Yes, and indeed, the next video we can see, you could see this video as his response to the recent fame of one Grogu, who is a new actor on the scene, apparently from the same town as Yoda. Now, this Grogu has quickly gotten to much more fame and acclaim than Yoda in the short time that he has been around. And Yoda can be seen destroying a picture violently of Grogu, destroying it with a fork, taking his anger out on his lack of fame, and being replaced and passed over in an ever-changing world that seeks to leave behind those from the old days of film.
Yes, this video to me seems to show Yoda recognizing and responding violently to the fact that he has been replaced in our world by a younger, more successful child actor who got his start much younger than Yoda and appears to be largely profiting off of his cuteness alone and not much of the raw talent that Yoda displayed in his first appearance, as Grogu's role has not required any true voice acting or representation of wisdom of any kind. And yes, but Grogu has continued to receive steady work through 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, as well as several episodes of the show, The Book of Boba Fett.
Indeed, Grogu has even gotten work with the great Mark Hamill.
Yes.
Also known as Luke Skywalker. Truly, Grogu is moving up in the world, being able to work with such a high-profile star.
Yes, and it seems that Mark Hamill himself has even replaced Yoda, as Grogu is now filling the role that Yoda once did. And I believe Yoda, however, I don't believe Yoda lived, unfortunately, to see Mark Hamill work with Grogu, but I believe if he saw that, it may have been what finally did him in, as it were.
Yes, now, the final video of this channel, Yoda retires, and what a sordid retirement it is.
Yes.
This video begins with clips from a news broadcast showing Yoda openly in public on a drug bender, requesting for the drug ketamine, and unfortunately, the anger from that finally seems to drive him over the edge in a psychedelic sequence where he inhales more cocaine off of his own green and clean book. He appears to realize the irony and knows that he has fallen far from where he was, but is unable and powerless to do anything about it. And what follows is a disturbing sequence.
Yes, it should be said as well that this video does not mirror the other content on the GreenBoys channel. It rather than being under a minute long and a random display of Yoda doing some activity for either comedic effects or for some other reason, this is rather a 12-minute documentary, sort of biographical documentary, as it were.
A bio-documentarian.
Yes, well said, Mingus, yes. It leaves me to believe that this video was likely put together after Yoda's unfortunate death, likely by one of his close friends.
Posthumously.
Posthumously, yes. If I had to guess, it was probably Kermit. That would be Kermit the Frog from Muppets fame, as he was according to his video, a very close friend of Yoda's. And so I feel that Kermit may have been the one to put this film together in his tribute after his passing.
Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, after the aforementioned drug bender, Yoda appears to be at his rope's end, seeking shelter with his good friend before finally passing out. And upon it is revealed later that he has apparently been suffering from a brain tumor, which can, if we look back at the channel with that knowledge, might seem to explain some of Yoda's more erratic behavior. And unfortunately, at the time that it was discovered, it was terminal, and there was nothing more that could be done. But this seemed to give Yoda new clarity regarding the course of his life, realizing that what he had taken and truly appreciating the time that he has left before finally fading into the sunset, as any true Jedi Master does,
Yes.
as we are treated to a musical tribute, recalling Yoda's life.
Yes. It
a sad tale,
truly is sad. Yes. It is unfortunate that of all the decisions that Yoda made, what ultimately led to his death was fate. Simply fate playing a harsh hand against him, as he had, as you said, a brain tumor, and that was his ultimate cause of death. And while his choice in substance abuse may have contributed to that tumor not being discovered in time to treat it, it is not ultimately the substances that killed him, and that is truly tragic indeed. To think that even if Yoda had perhaps cleaned up his act in the final days of his life, it likely would not have saved him. His fate had been sealed at that point, and yes, there's not much else to say on that. It's tragic.
Indeed.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Fanaman, would you like to deliver your closing thoughts on the matter of the life of Yoda?
Yes, I would. Yoda was truly an incredible actor and role model for the time he was clean, as I believe his book, Green and Clean, an inspirational story it is, was very inspirational, as the title would imply, to many youths of our time who perhaps found themselves in a similar situation to Yoda, where they felt the need to go to drugs for comfort. And I believe his book may have steered those youths in a proper direction away from said substances. And it's truly unfortunate that Yoda himself succumbed to them once again at the end of his life. And truly is a modern tragedy. Yoda will be missed by all of us. And yes, I am happy, however, that he was given one more live-action appearance in The Last Jedi, as it seems that Rian Johnson made the choice to employ the real Yoda for his appearance, rather than use a CGI replacement as George Lucas once did. And I believe that was truly an act of respect. Say what you will about The Last Jedi, but Rian Johnson must be commended for his respect for the actor Yoda and for for
even if the movie was complete garbage otherwise.
Yes, well, I believe it is more
also
nuanced.
Yoda was clearly showing his age in that performance.
Yes, he was truly not at his best, but I believe it was refreshing just to see him on the big screen again. And yes.
I think I will cap us off with a reading of a short story that I believe will sum up our thoughts on this sordid story.
Yes, indeed.
Man and girl go out to drive under moonlight. They stop on a side of road. He turn to his girl and say, "Baby, I love you very much." "What is it, honey?" "Our car is broken down. I think the engine is broken. I'll walk and get some more fuel." "Okay, I'll stay here and look after our stereo. There have been news reports of stairs being stolen." "Good idea. Keep the doors locked no matter what. I love you, Sweaty." So the guy left to get full for the car. After 2 hours, the girls say, "Where is my baby? He was supposed to be let back by now." Then the girl hear a scratching sound and voice say, "Let me in." The girl doesn't do it, and then after a while she goes to sleep. The next morning she wakes up and finds her boyfriend still not there. She gets out to check, and man door handhook car door. I think we all know what this means, and no more needs to be said.
Yes, truly.
And
Indeed.
if you wish to contact us, our email address can be found in the description.
Yes.
And on that note, it is concluded.
Farewell.